don't know what Craigslist is, it's pretty much a Temu version of eBay and like 10 times more sketchy. It's a website where you can list literally anything you want for sale, and the entire market is very individually based. So Craigslist doesn't actually do anything in the transaction. Meaning, if you were to buy something on Craigslist, you would actually have to go and drive to that person's house to pick up said item. So naturally, over time, there have been a lot of disaster and horror stories. Or perhaps somebody claimed to be selling a couch, invited you into their house, and then hogtied you and trapped you in their basement for 10 years and played patty cake with your booty cheeks until they were purple. It's a sore topic for me. So today, we are checking out the 3 most tragic, horrifying stories in the history of Craigslist. Craigslist is a great place to find good deals on basically everything.
Number 3.
Ain't no way anyone's reading that quick. Craigslist is a great place to find good deals on basically everything, but it can be very dangerous. You have no idea what kind of person you are communicating with, as these stories will exemplify. So be careful. Oh boy.
I'm a 22-year-old girl. I was looking on Craigslist to buy a couch for my new apartment a month ago. I found something I thought seemed like a good deal. From the pictures, the couch seemed to be in great shape.
Red alarms, fire truck sirens, everything should be going off when you look at the email address of this person, MexicanPoppy666 @hotmail.com. The hotmail.com is the worst part of the name.
The seller wanted to be contacted by email. His email was MexicanPoppy666 @hotmail.com.
I'm good at this.
I felt that email was a bit off-putting, but I still went ahead and emailed the man my offer.
I don't even blame her that much, because I gotta say that you do know, just looking at that couch, that's the comfiest couch in the world. It does not get comfier than that.
He responded within 5 minutes, accepting the offer and asking for my address. I honestly felt uncomfortable with his asking. I did not want a stranger coming to my house.
Yeah, why does he need your address?
I suggested that I just come to his house to pick it up.
Right.
But he continually insisted that he come to my house. Eventually, I stopped responding, and a day later, he emailed me again, giving me his address. I didn't know if I should go at that point, but it seemed like a steal. Almost too good to be true.
I don't see the price. Like, that couch could easily be like brand new. That could be like $1,500 couch. A $2,000, probably around $1,500. I think you could pay for it. So if you're selling it for like $200, that is a steal.
According to his address, he didn't live too far. So I got in my van and drove over to the seller's house. I immediately noticed that the house was a bit smaller than all the other houses on the block. When I rang the bell, a middle-aged man wearing a baseball cap answered the door. He gave me a huge smile and invited me in. I was immediately feeling uneasy. He led me into his living room, and I saw the couch. Immediately, I saw scuff marks and small tears in the couch.
I'm just realizing, too, there's even more suspicious things going on here. Like, why is there a computer right next to the couch? There's no desk or monitors. That's weird. That's the most random poster placement of all time. It's so tiny. And this little tiny dog picture, too. Very sketchy setup he's got going on here. Signs of, I think, a psychopath.
It was not at all in the shape that it appeared in the ad.
What?
I commented on this, and he just smiled and offered to lower the price. I told him I'm not interested. And here's where things started getting creepy.
Just leave now.
As I was making my way out of the house, he put his hand on my shoulder and offered to give it to me for free.
Hey! I really hope we're still talking about the couch.
If I was willing to, quote unquote, give something to him. I let out a disgusted gasp and got back into my car. I didn't even look up out the window. I just drove away from there quickly.
Okay. She got out of there.
It doesn't end there.
Oh.
That same night, I was laying in my bed watching TV, and I thought I heard somebody stomping up the steps of my porch.
No.
I muted the TV and was able to clearly hear the sound of somebody fiddling with my front doorknob. I jumped out of my bed and tiptoed over to the front door to look through the peephole, but whoever it was already gone. And then, I thought I could hear the sound of the gate to the backyard opening and closing. That was when I grabbed the phone and dialed 911. Soon after, I heard the sound of somebody fiddling with the doorknob to the back door of the apartment. I yelled to whoever it was that the police were on their way.
She did everything right. She did everything right up until that moment right there. You don't tell them that the police are coming because then they're going to run and then they're not going to get caught. Unless, I mean, I guess it's kind of smart because then they do run away and then you're no longer in danger for that night. But I guess like it is very dangerous to not tell them too because then they might break in and try to get the deed done even quicker. That sounds horrible. I can't believe I just said that.
After that, I heard the sound of the gate opening and closing again.
See? He's leaving now.
They were gone. This was a month ago and nothing has happened since.
See, dude, that was such a big mistake. You don't tell them that they're about to get arrested. You let them get arrested. Because now she's probably losing sleep every single night thinking like this could happen. She's making sure she's triple checking that all of her doors are locked, her windows are locked every single night. And that's a lot of stress to have to go through that all the time. Oh, that was a mistake. She fumbled that one.
But I still can't sleep at night.
See?
I'm 99% sure it was the man that was selling the couch. He must have followed me home. There was no way it was just a coincidence. I don't plan on using Craigslist anymore, and I'm still trying to find a new apartment.
I feel like it's gonna seem like I watched this whole thing already because of how much I said was going to happen and then it did happen, but I swear to you, I've never seen that. Maybe I should just be a detective, I think. If YouTube ever falls through, I think that's my next line of expertise. Anyway, let's check out story number 2.
Number 2. I was looking for a car to buy for my son for his 18th birthday.
I will say Craigslist is great for buying cars. So this is so far so good, I think.
I was searching all the typical car websites, cars.com, eBay Motors.
Facebook Marketplace.
They were all overpriced as expected.
This person doesn't know what they're doing.
Craigslist was the only place to find an actual deal. About a week into my search, I found an 03 Toyota Camry. It had 67,000 miles, no accidents, no damage.
Not true. It says minor body damage in rear. See pictures.
And good condition for only $3,500. This seems like a steal for such a reliable car with such low mileage. The seller lived about 10 miles from me, which was a reasonable drive when looking for a car. I gave him a call to set up a time to come check it out. The man sounded normal on the phone. He assured me that there were absolutely no problems with the car.
Also, if you guys ever go to buy a car for yourself on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or whatever it may be, never offer their asking price. I have sold cars in there before knowing that people are going to lowball you and then you meet in the middle. So like, for example, this person is asking for $3,500. Don't tell them, oh, great price, great deal. You tell them, all right, I'll give you $2,900 for it. And they'll go, $3,300 for it. You go, $3,100 for it, and they'll go deal. That's how it works. I'm just saying, that is how it works.
He introduced himself as Bob.
Never trusted Bob.
I brought along $3,500 in cash, even though I planned on wiggling down the price as much as possible.
I have not watched this video, I swear. What is going on? All right, come on, lock in.
I pulled up the dirt road to Bob's property about 15 minutes early.
Dirt roads.
It was a tiny little house with a decent-sized property, only because it was a bit far from the nearest neighbors. The garage was open, so I walked over to see if anybody was inside, but except for an unusual amount of car parts, it was empty. The car was nowhere in sight. The only car on the property was an old pickup truck. I went over to the front door to check the house numbers. It was the right address. The doorbell button was missing, so I knocked on the front door. I knocked for exactly 5 minutes before deciding to give the man a call. So I dialed his number and I heard the sound of a cell phone ringing from inside the house.
To be honest, like watching this as a viewer, knowing that this is a scary story, a lot of these details seem sketchy to us and, well, to me and probably to you guys as well. But I feel like if you put yourself in those shoes, it wouldn't seem that weird, like when you're in the moment. So to be honest with you, I don't even really blame him so far from what's going on. But to us, it probably seems super obvious that something is off.
I was extremely confused at this point. Now I knew I had the right house. I didn't understand why, if he was home, why he wasn't answering.
Could be showering, could be pooping.
I decided I had to take a peek through one of the windows to see if anybody was inside.
Could be watching a Cyber Reacts video. Man, shut up!
Peering through the glass, I couldn't really see much as it was pretty dark inside the house. I saw a very old-fashioned dining room set, but across from that, I saw somebody standing at the back door of the house, staring outside. I figured that must have been Bob, so I knocked on the window, but he didn't even move. There was no gate or anything to the backyard. It was just a wide open yard since this wasn't a rural area. I simply walked around the house to the backyard.
Oh, God.
I didn't understand how he couldn't hear me. When I got to the back door, I made a shocking realization. The figure standing by the door was a taxidermied human being.
Oh!
I ran straight back the way I came and back to my car. I looked up one last time before driving off. The blinds to the window I had peeked into had been shut, but I could see two of the blinds bent open. Somebody was at that window watching me. You can probably guess I had the gas pedal to the floor the whole way home. The whole situation still makes no sense.
What if it was just a mannequin and they missaw it? If you don't know what taxidermy means, it's like you know, some people will taxidermy their dog that died, and they like stuff it, and then, you know, your dog, it looks like your dog, but it's not. Well, it is, but it's stuffed. I'm explaining that so bad. You guys probably know what I'm talking about, though. A lot of people do it with deer. There you go, like a deer head. That's a better example. Anyway, apparently there was a taxidermy human in there. That seems crazy to me. I've never heard of that before, even in like horror films. Like, I think it's a possibility it could have been a mannequin or something. And if they really truly believe that, this dude better call the police on the way home. If he doesn't call the police, he's not doing the world justice. You can't, if you really believe that, you can't let this dude just roam free and continue to call people to his house on Craigslist.
All the car parts, the fact that there was no Toyota Camry, the taxidermied human being, the fact that there was no car there leads me to believe that whoever that man wasn't planning on selling me anything. And that also leads to the disturbing thought that
he was planning on stuffing you.
I was very close to becoming a lifeless statue staring out that man's back door.
So, I mean, the story ends there, so I guess we'll never know. But if that dude didn't call the police, I almost don't believe the entire story. Anyway, this is the third story, which apparently is the creepiest of them all.
I was looking to buy the iPhone 5 about a year ago. I found a guy on Craigslist who was selling his for $200.
iPhone 5?
He claimed it was in mint condition and that he wanted to upgrade to the 5C. I didn't know much about how to go about testing a phone to make sure everything works, so I brought my little brother along who knew a lot more than I did. We met halfway at a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot at like 10 o'clock at night.
See, that's smart.
I'm stronger. I'm smarter.
It is smart to meet up somewhere neutral. This way, you're not showing up at someone's house where they can do a lot of things to you without anybody knowing. You're in a public spot in a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot where a lot of people are moving and grooving, and they'll see if something weird happens. On top of that, he's also bringing his brother, which is his younger brother. Maybe not necessarily for protection, but it's better to have more people than less.
Two large, intimidating guys stepped out of a black Honda Civic and walked over to us. One of the guys pulled out the phone and showed it to me. It didn't have a scratch on it. My brother took out my SIM card and popped it into this new phone. He did some testing and told me that it works. The guy then asked for $250, even though he originally asked for $200. I lied and told him I only brought $200, and he seemed a bit unhappy with this. I did have $250, but I didn't want to spend more than his original asking price. I kind of figured it was his way of making sure I didn't haggle down the price. I handed the guy the $200, and he and his buddy got back in their car. We got back into my car, and I tested out the new phone by calling my girlfriend. I sat testing things around for about 5 minutes. My brother commented on the fact that the two guys hadn't left yet either, but I didn't really care. I started the car and pulled out of the parking lot. My brother then commented that the two guys started their car just as I had. I didn't find it too weird. I drove down the turnpike and eventually stopped at a red light. That's when I noticed the black Honda Civic pull up right behind us in my rearview mirror. I found that a bit weird since I was sure they came from the opposite direction. I continued my drive home, but every single turn we made, they followed, and close on my tail too. My brother suggested I pull over, but there was no way I was going to do that. I knew those guys were looking for trouble. It got to the point where I was trying to lose them and started driving dangerously. If they needed something, they would call or at least honk their horn, but they were looking for some kind of trouble.
Yeah, I don't get, like, clearly he's right. They want trouble. Why would they not do the trouble, whatever it is, whether that be like beating them up and taking the phone back and the $200 and moving on? Why would they not do it earlier? Well, I guess because they were in a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot. To my point earlier, you can't really do that in public. So maybe they're following him to his house and then he's gonna jump him? Strange.
Tried something risky to lose them. At an intersection, the light had just turned red. I floored it across the intersection before any of the cars would begin to pass. My brother shouted at me, calling me stupid and crazy, but it worked. They didn't follow.
Okay, there we
go. I got
go.
home after the extra long drive. My heart was still racing from the intensity of the situation. I was just happy I got a working phone for such a low cost. Later that night, I was playing around with the phone trying to set some things up before going to bed. My parents and brother were already asleep at this point. And just then, the sound of 2 car doors slamming shut outside interrupted me.
Is there a way they could have put like trackers in the phone? I mean, I would have no idea, but I'm sure it's possible.
I looked out my window, and I felt like my heart completely stopped. The black Honda Civic was parked across the street. I could only assume the 2 guys were already halfway to our front door. I immediately woke up my dad and explained everything as quickly as possible. He got up, grabbed a baseball bat, and crouched behind the front door. A loud knock came at the front door. My dad screamed at them to go away. One of the guys on the other side of the door claimed to have a gun and said that he would shoot the lock off of the door if he didn't open up. My dad told me to call Joe, our friend who lives 2 doors down who happens to be a police officer.
Okay, I was gonna say, how about call the police? But no, okay, Joe is an officer. All right, fair enough.
I called Joe and he said he would be right over and to stay hidden. Here's the part that still scares me to this day. There was the sound of a silenced shot of a pistol. I peeked over and saw a bullet hole in the door, inches away from my dad's head. My dad ran away from the door and we all listened.
Having a suppressor, that's like next level. These guys are legit. Most people out in the block, they don't suppress their Glock, okay? I grew up on the streets.
Not the cap.
All right, I didn't grow up in the streets, but I lived in the city for 4 years. I saw some things, I heard things, and I never heard. Oh, it's more like that. That's a suppressed shot, and I only knew that from Call of Duty. I'm just saying, normally they let those things blare. Blah, blah. Okay, I'm losing the plot. Point is, these guys are legit troublemakers, con artists.
We heard Joe outside yelling at them to drop their weapons. My dad went outside to help when they lowered their guns.
Shout out Joe.
Joe arrested the 2 assholes. I have to say, this was the scariest day of my life, but it was also the best I had ever felt in my entire life.
All over $200 they were willing to risk going to prison for probably multiple years for $200. That's pretty crazy.
It's an evil world we live in.
Well, boys, there you go. I hope you all learned a lesson today. Just be really careful if you ever use a website like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. Generally, I've heard they're actually great, and most people probably don't have any conflicts, but better be safe than sorry. And if you guys enjoyed today's video and want to watch more, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and click right here.